everybody, it's your lovely Lotus Blossom Lizzie, and today we're going to be doing installment 10 in the Woman Overboard Junk Journal. And I'm so happy that you all are here on this junk journaling process with me. If you love junk journaling like I do, make sure that you subscribe, like, and share. And don't forget to hit the notification button so that you'll be notified when more videos like this one come out. So the first thing that I am doing here is I am adding some clusters into my actual journal. And if you want to see how I made these clusters, I'll have a link in the description below. And I'll also have a link to some of the supplies that I use below as well. And I have fun making the clusters on the live video, and I really wanted to use them in my journal, so you'll see lots of them. I will be popping them in here. Now, this was a conversation that I had over on Facebook, and I wanted to keep the conversation in my junk journal as well so I could look back at it. And so I just printed it out and I mounted it, sort of mounted it, because you know this is a little bit scrapbooky. I put it on top of one of the collage papers that's over at pleasantcreations.com. It's a digital kit as well. And then I just had to decide where I wanted to put it. I also wanted to use some of the words that I had in the wordplay digital kit, which is also up at pleasantcreations.com. And I don't think I used it on this particular page, but I did use them. Instead, I used a different digital kit, which is the vocabulary cards, the vintage vocabulary cards. But I wanted to make sure, since this page was, or these elements were a bit girthy, I wanted to make sure that they stayed down. So I used some double stick tape on here. And I also use my Cricut weeder. Now, y'all know, if y'all been watching me, you know that my Cricut weeder is one of my favorite tools because I don't have to use my nails on stuff like this. So I love just kind of rubbing in that double stick tape, because whenever you're using adhesive, you want to make sure you have it rubbed into your material really good so it basically is really adhering to it. And then I use the weeder to actually peel the back of the tape up as well. So that saves my fingernails a lot of cracking and chipping and all that good stuff. So you never want to use your nails as tools. You'll hear me say that over and over again, but sometimes we can't help ourselves. But you can tell which nails I've used as tools. So now I'm going to put this word down, which is my word for the year, which is intentional. So, you know, we're coming up to the last of the year, so I need to think of what word I want for my word to be for next year. So did you have a word for this year? I would love to hear in the comments, what was your word for this year, or do you intend on having one for the next year? So the next thing I did was I took out one of my Sharpie ultra fine point pens, and I love using these. These are actually my pens of choice when it comes to using it in my junk journal, because they write on basically all the different materials, so that's very nice. And they come in so many different colors. And no, this is not a sponsored video. I just love them so much. And you can see it really made a difference. If I would have thought ahead of time, I probably would have sewn that in, because y'all know I love sewing so much. So I took these pictures of the battleship Wisconsin, because I went there in Virginia when I took Slim back home. And I did put those on some cardstock, and I also did some sewing around them. So it's hard to tell because I did a really simple, messy straight stitch on each one of those. But if you actually looked at the card, you could see it. And then I use my glue of choice, which is the Aleene's Tacky Glue. Y'all know I love Aleen so much. And again, it's not a sponsored video. But I like that glue because it immediately you feel the strength that is of how it's going to hold your element onto the page, if that makes sense. But I do use it, and I love the pictures that I took of the battleship. That was my first time being on a battleship, y'all. Hats off to all the Navy because if you saw like the quarters they lived in, you'd be like, "Ah, I'm not doing that." But they did that for us, so I appreciate that. So my hats off to all our naval men and women. So then I did a spot of journaling because y'all know I like putting pictures in my junk journal. I like putting junk in my junk journal. I like putting things I make in my junk journal. And I also like doing a spot of journaling as well. So now to this tag, this has been in the journal for a while now, but I wanted to kind of add a little bit to it because that's how I kind of work in my junk journal. Y'all, I go back and forth and I go through pages and I see little bits of things that could have a little bit of a finishing touch like this one. And so I just took some yellow twine and I put that on and it was just marvelous. I loved it. And it hangs out the book, and y'all know I love hanging stuff out the book, and it just makes me happy. So I also took this word from the Word Play Digital Kit, and I took a little bit of the Tim Holtz vintage photo, and I went around it because when you print them, well, when I printed these, I just printed them on regular paper because I knew that it would be in the book, and I didn't want it to add too much bulk. And it always has that little white around it, and you may not have noticed it, but I can notice it when I open up my book. So I wanted to make sure that I kind of knocked that white back. So of course, I'm just going from page to page today. Sometimes I'll stay on one page and just do a full layout, and then other times I just go through the book and just kind of pick and choose what I want to do. So I decided after I did a little bit more journaling. This was a page that I did with some watercolors, and it was just in the book, so I took it out and did a little bit of journaling on it. I decided that I wanted to use a privacy envelope within my journal. Now, y'all, I've never used an envelope like this in this manner, and let me tell you, this was such a fun application that I did that I'm definitely going to do it again. I don't know how many times I could do it in this journal because it's getting so fat, but I decided to make a pocket out of this privacy envelope. So I just cut the sides off of it and then turned it inside out, and y'all, look at that. Look at that beautiful pattern that's on the inside of that envelope. Now that's the epitome of taking a trash and making it a treasure. But then I had to go just a little bit further because y'all know how I am. And I said to myself, let's put a little bit of material on here. Let's put some lovely fabric on here because I have so much, for real. And so I did a little bit of sewing. So if you want to see this video in regular time, you can head over to the Patreon channel, which is patreon.com/Liz4a day. And so I actually recorded this video live. And at the time of this recording, I have been going on live over on the Patreon channel almost every day, working in my junk journal or in my art journal. So it's been a pretty cool experience. So what I'm laying down here in the inside of here is some, I call them digital fabric pockets. So these were some pockets that I made for some journals back in July, and I decided to scan them and make them available in the shop over at pleasantcreations.com. And I found that I can do a lot of things with those digital fabric pockets, like what you see here. Use it as a background. You can use it as a journaling card. You can use it for pockets, and I've done all that within this journal. So I'm really loving that particular digital kit that I made. And then I glued this down, and I got that from a magazine, What's Your Gut Feeling? And it's actually pointing over to the other page where it says love is forever. Now I wanted to use some washi tape to actually put this in. I didn't know how this was going to work out. I've never sort of tipped in an envelope, so this was a little bit of an experiment for me. And again, if you know my channel, it's all about experimentation. I love experimenting on things. So I took some washi And I decided to put some glue on that washi because, washi is notoriously unsticky. So I wanted to make sure that it did stick quite a bit. And so I put some of the Elmer's glue on there, but I found by the time I got done fidgeting with the paper, it was kind of unsticky. So I had to figure out something different. So I took out some of my Fabri-Tac glue, which I probably should have just used the Aleene's glue. I don't know why I used the Fabri-Tac glue, but I did because that Fabri-Tac glue is so juicy. Things just move around a lot, but it kind of worked out. And so I put a little bit more on the other side, well, a lot more on the other side, and put the washi tape on the other side. And you'll also see that I do have some bits that are hanging out the bottom, and I didn't mind that at all because y'all know I like hanging stuff out of my journal. It just looks so beautiful on the shelf. And I forgot to close the envelope up, so I had to just put a spot of glue on the edges so that it would be a true pocket. So this time I took the Aleene's tacky glue out and I put it on both sides, and voila, close it up. And now I have a beautiful pocket with some beautiful fabric on it and a beautiful saying, and it has a beautiful window with a beautiful background on the inside. So this is probably one of my favorite elements in this journal. Y'all just don't know. It gives me life. It gives me life. I love it. So now I'm just doing a little bit of touch up on this page because the washi tape was holding things down a bit too much on the other page, because that was kind of like a shorter page on that side. And also I did kind of break the washi tape a little bit at the top. So what I wanted to do was kind of cover up that mistake. So I had a bit of but eyelash trim in my little scrap bag. So I just used that and it was perfect for that page. It matched the color and it hung out marvelously on the outside, which again, I don't mind at all. Yeah, so this desk is like, it turned out to just be a lot of stuff going on, but I was just enjoying it. Now, as if this page didn't have enough stuff on it, I had to put another word on here because I'm just enjoying using these words. So if y'all haven't picked up your digital kit over at Pleasant Creations with the wordplay, you should, because I have used it on so many different projects. When I made those, I had no idea that they would be so versatile, but they definitely are. So you could definitely go over to Pleasant Creations, and if you don't have a journal, you can get one over there too. So here's another cluster that I made on that live stream, and it's so pretty with that Victorian lady. And again, I am going to use some double stick tape, and I'm just gonna put it all over the back of here. Well, actually, I'm just gonna make it like kind of a tuck spot, so I'm not gonna put it all over the back of the card, but I just put a few pieces on and stuck that on. And then that way I can just stick something in there if I please. Because, I use every opportunity to make a pocket, make a tuck spot, you name it. Lizzie tries to make it so I can put even more in this book, as if it's going to be able to hold more. So here is another cluster that I made. And I think this is one of my favorite clusters that I made on the live stream as well. And it's just made out of a playing card. So you can see you can use anything for your ephemera, and it's fantastic. So I just was kind of testing out to make sure everything was on the up and up there. Now, I had these little strips, and these strips really probably should have went in the trash. They're from the Collage Paper, where it's an offcut, and I decided to keep it for some strange reason. But I was able to use it. I used it as kind of just like an edge piece on here, and I really like the way it came out because it kind of finished the page off for me. Because y'all know I have a little bit of an eclectic kind of style when it comes to putting things in my junk journal, and I love it so much. So stay tuned because there's more pictures coming up, but please make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And also, I would love to know what was your favorite part of this session that we did here. I think mine is the pocket. That pocket gives me life. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share as well. And again, you can head over to the Patreon channel to see more videos like this one in real time. So with that, I'm going to say love, peace, and hair grease. From your sweet lotus blossom and lovable Lizzie, have a fantabulous day and enjoy life.